Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Abby. I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mom of 5, and I share all sorts of homeschooling and homemaking content here on my channel. So glad to have you. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button down below and stick around. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. Thanks for popping back onto one of my videos. Today is a video I haven't done in a while. It's a sit-down chat Q&A. Long story short, I broke my foot a couple of weeks ago, and so I figured I was gonna have some more time to do some sit-down chatty videos. So I asked on Instagram and on YouTube community for some questions. Anything goes kind of questions, homeschooling questions, just like mom questions, whatever. And of course it's mostly homeschooling things, but lots of other stuff sprinkled in. So I thought that I would go ahead and chat with you guys about all of that today. So before I jump into the questions, I want to share about today's video partner. This is a company that you guys have asked about quite recently because I used to share about them often, and I haven't in a little bit. So today I am partnered with Night Zookeeper, and I'm excited to share a little bit more about them and also give you a discount code in the description box down below. Today's video is in partnership with Night Zookeeper. Night Zookeeper is a fantastically fun language arts program for children ages 6 through 12, and with the link in my description box down below, you can try Night Zookeeper for 7 days for free and receive 50% off of an annual subscription. Night Zookeeper is an award-winning reading and writing program for kids that helps improve spelling, grammar, punctuation, and vocabulary, and provides personalized feedback on your child's writing. With Night Zookeeper, children will draw their own magical characters that go with them throughout the night zoo, which helps develop and grow their creative writing skills so they're inspired by their very own creations. And since the foundation of all great writers is a broad and rich vocabulary, Night Zookeeper helps your children learn thousands of new words through exciting, personalized activities and games. As they progress, they'll encounter sentence-building games, short writing challenges, and many more exciting activities that help them to use new words in longer, more complex sentences. And then they're challenged to put their learning into action, producing stories, reports, poems, and other styles of writing. Then their work is in a personal portfolio that can be shared with family, friends, and a global audience. They get instant feedback on everything that they write, and they're encouraged to improve their writing skills as they receive comments from the different characters in Night Zookeeper, as well as personalized feedback from their team of educators. And then as a parent, you can also go onto your parent dashboard and see their progress as well, which I love. Night Zookeeper is the leading reading and writing program. It's developed by experienced educators to improve your reading and writing skills with thousands of educational games, lessons, and resources, and allows you to follow your child's progress on your dashboard. You can set your own writing assignments or let them do it for you, and receive monthly themed printable worksheets and resources. So if you are interested in trying Night Zookeeper, it is not too late to get started this school year. The information to try a 7-day free trial is in the description box down below, as well as that 50% off code if you want to get an annual subscription. So thank you so much, Night Zookeeper, for partnering with me on today's video, and I hope you guys take advantage of that free trial. So thank you so much, Night Zookeeper, for partnering with me on today's video. And like I mentioned, there is a 7-day free trial link in the description box down below, as well as a 50% off discount for an annual subscription if you are interested. So we are going to hop right to it. I'm gonna go through some of these questions. I think I'll start with the more homeschool style questions, and then I'll move into some other categories. So first things first, let's see, the very first question here is, there's lots of homeschooling questions. So meal planning for the school year, that was the first, I guess it's not like really a question, it's just a statement. Meal planning for the school year. So we did make a change this year, and this year I have been packing my kids' lunches the night before. And the reason for that is because I have a 1-year-old, a 6-year-old, 9-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So my kids and the length of time that it takes them to get school done is all over the place. My younger kids are done well before lunchtime most days, and my older kids are usually pretty invested in either math or science right before lunchtime. So instead of having people wait for each other, I just like to pack their lunches ahead of time so that my younger kids can get to their lunch right away, and then I can go help my older kids, or I can feed the baby or get her down for a nap. And it just takes the pressure off of my older kids feeling like they need to wrap it up really quickly so that they can sit down and eat with my little kids. For the most part, their lunches overlap a little bit, so my younger ones will start eating and then my older ones will finish up what they're doing and join them at the table, and they still have that community lunch feeling. But it just has been so helpful, and it's also given me the chance to do school up until the moment that it's time to sit down for lunch, instead of having to like give them a little assignment and then break away to cook lunch. I cook breakfast, I cook dinner every single day of the week, most often 7 days a week except for our date night. And even on our date nights, I'm like cooking a dinner and giving it to them for the sitter. So it's just way easier to have a lunch packed ahead of time most days. Most days we're doing that. And then 2 days a week, we're generally out of the house anyway. So I already had to pack lunches those days. So that's been the biggest meal planning change this year, and it's been really helpful. Let's see. So let's see. Sweetest thing about having elementary up until high school now. I think that the sweetest part of that has been just like seeing those little sands of time slipping, you know, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like you're here and we were just there, but now you're here. And just seeing how quickly time goes, what's priority, what's worth, you know, being frustrated about and what's not. Enjoying these last 4 years, 3.5 years that I have all my kiddos in the schoolroom together. I'm just very well aware that by the time Josephine starts kindergarten, Bella will have been graduated. So I will never have more than 4 students at a time officially, which is crazy to think. I will never have all 5 of them doing official school at the same time. So that's been bittersweet. I have really enjoyed it's helped keep perspective. I see this little girl in the schoolroom, and then I have this young lady in the schoolroom, and it doesn't seem like that long ago that Bella looked just like Annie, sitting down doing 5 in a row, and we're doing some of the same 5 in a row lessons that I did with Bella. And so it just keeps, it's like in reverse. So for Annie, you know, I see with my younger kids like, oh, this isn't worth fretting over because soon you'll be this big kid. But also looking at Bella thinking you were just this little girl, and in many ways you still are that little girl still. So it's very sweet to have that kind of happening at the same time, and it's been lovely and enjoyable. And as much as I didn't think I would, as much as I thought I would be crying my way through these years, it's been sweet. You know, I see the launch into the world happening soon, and it's not absolutely breaking me like I thought it would. It's been an exciting season. With all the extras your high schooler is doing, what does your transcript look like for 9th grade? So I think that question is like along the lines of the family subjects we're doing, since we're doing like this bird study, and we're doing art study, and we're doing missionary study and poetry and all that. So our transcript will not reflect all the things we're doing. I will include our poetry study and her literature in for language arts, but it won't be, there won't be little mini notes about it, and it won't be well documented. I think that's just part of, you know, the whole idea of homeschooling. It's not to present something to anyone, it's to do what you think is best. So a lot of the things that we do will be grouped in as other subjects, you know. It won't be this perfectly detailed transcript, because that's not how it works, but I'm still really happy with what we're doing this year, and almost everything we're doing will be pulled in my opinion, to be used for something. So you know, nature study isn't something that has to go on a high school transcript. There are not typically colleges looking for a nature study credit, but it'll go towards something. You know, we're doing nature journaling and art this year, so it'll be kind of put more toward like the art side of things and all that kind of stuff. So, and then as far as the extra she's doing, she is on a competitive dance team. She does violin. I need my coffee today, which is mostly creamer. It's like this is fall. This is Abby in the fall. I have a coffee that's basically white. But so she does violin, she does competitive dance, and then she's also on the varsity cheer team, which I believe there are some questions about that, so I'll answer that right now. In our state, we have 2 laws or bills, I'm not sure exactly. One is commonly referred to as the Equal Access Law, so students are allowed to play for whatever public school they'd be zoned for in middle and high school. They're allowed to try out for the sports teams there. We also have a fairly new bill, I believe it is, that recently passed last year for charter school students, as long as there's no additional teams at the charter school. So as long as the charter school has 0 teams whatsoever, to play for a private school as well. And so homeschoolers got grouped into that as well. So she is allowed to try out for, because she loves dance, she wanted to do cheer, she was allowed to audition for both try out for both teams. And then Jesse's right on her heels here, because he would also like to play sports as well. And then the really neat thing is, in most instances, that also means they get to participate in high school, other high school activities if they are an athlete at that school. So dances, Powder Puff, she's on the Powder Puff football team this year. So yeah, check into your state's laws, and I live in the state of Florida, and I think it's a pretty great state to homeschool in. So she is on the cheer team as well. So her transcript is a little bit all over the place, and I love it. And science this year, we've chosen to do one of her science that includes labs, because that is a requirement on our transcript. So she is doing biology, and then she's doing all the labs that go along with it for a full lab credit. And then the other thing that we specifically pulled in that she needed for high school this year was economics. She needs a half credit in economics, half credit in government, and you know me, we're gonna do more than a half credit's worth, but we're gonna just count it as a half credit. Okay. How has your daily homeschooling rhythm changed since Josephine moved out of the baby stage? It's changed for the better for now. It's easier now to plan our days out. But she's a toddler, so she's busy. So I just have to know that that means my house is going to be very messy, but we're gonna be able to get school done, because I won't be pulled away so often for nap times and nursing and things like that. So she's much more independent. She's easier to hand a snack to or to entertain. I think I might even have, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if it's even down there. My chair might be in the way. She has all her toys set up back here because we were reading earlier, and she loves all the little Love Every toys, and so she's able to focus on things for a couple minutes at a time, and she's happy to sit on my lap while we're at the school table. And if the kids are coloring something, she wants to color too. So there's that. Takes a little bit more work still to have a toddler in your homeschool. But our schedule is generally more predictable. And if she was a good sleeper, it'd be even better, because my mornings would be a little easier. But she's not the best sleeper. But it's okay. We're able to start right at 8 o'clock regardless, because she's got a pretty good routine. How are you teaching geography to your elementary kids these days? So we've moved back to using the Visits To series from Simply Charlotte Mason. Last year we took a break from that, and we did like a little geography friend meetup once a month, where every month we met and kind of talked about a different country and missions in that country and the people of that country. And we just took a break from the Visits To series. This year we're back to it. So we're doing Visits To Australia and South America, and we are loving it. It's been probably our favorite one yet. I think Australia is just such a new country for my kids to study. We've not done much with Australia yet, so everyone's excited about it, and I'm doing that with all of my kids at the same time. And we're doing all the additional reading that's suggested, especially for my older ones, just to bulk it up a little bit. Watercolor, the watercolor we're using in our homeschool this year. I've gotten so many questions about this, and I try to be as clear as possible when I share things like this, because otherwise it's just like I'm teasing something and waiting for questions to come in. We use Let's Make Art for our watercolor this year. Watercolors are handcraft, and I use the free YouTube videos. They're amazing, but I would recommend that you preview the videos ahead of time, because sometimes they require additional supplies. So we just did the pumpkin project and we needed to order carbon paper, as well as, I think it's called like no bleed white watercolor, on top of our regular watercolors. You can purchase kits, individual art kits on their website, but they're pretty pricey, and then you'd have to buy one for each of your kids. But their YouTube channel has free art tutorials, and you can also create an account on their website to download their free outlines. And then if you have the carbon paper, you can trace the outlines. We have really enjoyed that. All of my kids enjoy it. Annabeth, who is my first grader, is able to hang with us for the most part with the adult art lessons, and my older kids just know to be patient, and we press pause to help her keep up with us. But every couple of weeks we'll do one of the Let's Make Art kids projects, and we'll all just enjoy that with her as well. So that's just to kind of break it up a little bit. But we do watercolor every Wednesday, because Wednesday mornings we're out of the house for a Bible study, and I don't have a lot of wiggle room to lose any school days with some of the things we have on our agenda this year, especially having a high schooler. It just does feel a lot more real and like a little bit more pressure than we've usually felt in our school year. So I don't want to lose our 5th day completely. So we go to our Bible study and then we come home, and that's when we do our handcraft, and then the older two do a little science or math as well. So watercolor Wednesdays, and that is what we're using. We're using Let's Make Art. Yeah, another question about watercolor, and they're free. So I think I've mentioned before that we use Let's Make Art, and people didn't hear me say the free YouTube. So people are purchasing from their website, which is great. I think they're a great company, but that would get really pricey really quickly. Okay, what have I thought about Simply Charlotte Mason Math so far? I love Simply Charlotte Mason Math. I think it's a great setup for the younger years. We use teaching textbooks, which starts at level 3, which is like 2nd or 3rd grade. And so we are using Simply Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic levels 1 and 2 with Annabeth until she's ready for teaching textbooks. So I love it. I think it teaches things so well, and I am not opposed to purchasing the additional textbooks, maybe not the student kits, but just to help review things should my kids ever need a backup with review, because the way that they teach is really helpful, and I can just see how that could help my kids untangle some things if they need a little bit more help down the road. But we use teaching textbooks starting at level 3 and plan to use it all the way through. We've used it for my daughter. She's in high school now, and we're gonna finish out with it. But for those early years, we used to use Horizons. I loved Horizons as well. It was a great setup for teaching textbooks, but the elementary arithmetic has just been really impressive. So we switched to that with Annabeth last year, and I love it. All right, next question here is, what do you find to be the most difficult aspect of homeschooling? I would say that the most difficult aspect is my own motivation. And when I look back on years that I thought were really difficult, it was my own lack of motivation and get up and go. And anything that I could see kind of, I mean, other than massive outside influences, illnesses or grief or other things that have caused us to suspend our school year, across the board, it is my preparation, my motivation, my self-discipline. That is the most difficult part of homeschooling. But now I think we're in like our 11th or 12th year if you count preschool at home. And yeah, I think it's the 12th, and I'm pretty good at being self-disciplined. Homeschooling is refining in that sense. Like, you've got to be on it with your time, your diligence, your preparation. And so if you're not there by year 12, it's gonna be like hitting the same wall every single year. So I feel like that weeded itself out pretty early on for me, but I still hit the slump where you're just like, do I really have to set my alarm for 5:30? Do I really have to plan these things ahead of time? Like, can't we just fly by the seat of our pants? And you can for like a week at a time or so, but if you're not well planned and you don't have all the stuff photocopied and ready to go with 5 kids, it's gonna hit you in the face pretty quickly. But there's still wiggle room, you know. we kind of bumped along through the last week that we just had before our school break, and we did it. We checked the boxes, but could have been easier. So I'm my own, I'm the reason it's most difficult. My own things that need, my own habits. What are the things that you almost always look for in a curriculum? Unpopular opinion, I look more for if I'm going to enjoy teaching it than if I think my kids will enjoy learning it, in a sense. And what I mean is, like, if it looks like it's doable for me, like if it looks like the way it's laid out is clear for me, if it looks like it's something that I'm going to be excited to teach to my kids, if it looks like something that's manageable and not a heavy course load that's going to be impossible for me to fit in. So I actually filter that through me first. My kids are really agreeable and obedient when it comes down to doing school. There's not been much that they haven't been willing to do, and I think it's just the way that it's presented to them. And so I look for curriculum that I feel comfortable with, or that I can learn in order to teach, so the style. And so that's why I mostly do stick with like Simply Charlotte Mason method, because I love the way it's laid out. I think it is very simple. I'm on board with it. I understand the ideas behind it, and it's pretty well laid out for me to teach. And so that's pretty much what I look for. Next, what has been the most helpful habit you started with your kids? Ooh, I think with laying down the rails. I would say the one we're in right now, we're doing the habit of attention. That one has been a family-wide habit that we're catching it all over the place. When you really focus in on one area at a time, you see it everywhere. Habit of attention was one that we all needed to work on. Let's see here. So what is your favorite thing about homeschooling? And how did you make time for YouTube, homeschool, and your other responsibilities? My favorite thing about homeschooling, now that I have a high schooler, is just the fact that I don't hold a lot of regrets in my time with my kids. I know that I've been here almost every day of their lives. I know that as hard as certain years have been and as difficult, you know, as it's been in certain years, that that we worked through things together, that there wasn't a lot of time lost. And I'm proud of that, but I'm also thankful for that. I'm thankful for the way that it shaped me as a mom and brought me to my knees before the Lord, but also just being here to help cultivate things for my kids and to help on their character, you know, starting to see meltdowns happen and finding the root cause of that, and so that they're not going to be 25 and have never worked through some things that could have been caught earlier in their lives, if that makes sense. So I'm just thankful to have been here every day. I'm thankful for the experiences that we've had with one another. I'm thankful kind of being here at the end of our homeschooling journey with one kid, just to see that you're seeing the fruit of it, seeing that it's been worth it, and seeing that it was not all for naught, even though it felt like it sometimes. So I think that's my favorite thing, just seeing it, getting to see the front row seat to this person's entire life and getting ready to then launch them out, knowing that you did the best you could with Jesus. So do I have kids who don't complete work for the day, or that I have to send back to correct things, and how do I navigate that? And do I have days where we don't complete what we have for the day, and do we make it up later or move on? So I only plan on paper a week at a time, so that we can roll, and every week there's something that's being rolled over, whether it was one chapter of a read aloud that we didn't get to, or whether it's like 3 math lessons. You know, there's got to be some flexibility. But within each term, so we do 3 12-week terms, within each term I have a general idea of where I'd like to be with each term. And so we rarely, you know, miss that mark. So I have a broader sense of what I want done, but as far as what gets done week to week, that is a little bit more fluid. And then my kids pretty much complete everything. There's incentive there. If they want to go to karate, or they want to go to dance, or they want to be a part of family movie night on Friday, then they've got to get their work done. And I think just having an appropriate course load per child saves you from from them not getting much done. If it's a course load issue, if it's a motivation issue, there's other ways to deal with that. But as far as just not putting too much on their shoulders, but then balancing that with being self-disciplined and not being out of the house too much so they can get their work done, and kind of like what I was sharing before, if we want to go to this Bible study, which I love for me, then we've got to do a little bit before and we've got to do a little bit after. With older kids, gone are the days of us saying, oh, well, on Wednesdays we go to this Bible study, so that's our school for the day. You know, there's a little bit more discipline that's involved now for me, and so I have to first model that for my kids. Okay, I know I'm kind of skipping over some of them here, but I don't have time to answer every single one of them. So next here is, did any of your kids dislike reading? My second grader has zero interest in reading. She likes looking at the pictures but doesn't want to read even if it's at their reading level. I did have one. I wouldn't say they disliked it. I would say it was a confidence issue. They could do the blends. They were following the curriculum well. They were just lacking the confidence, and so we just took a break for a few months, and then I just read to them and just taught them to enjoy books. You know, we read silly books and fun books and lots of books, and I was sure to be very animated when I was reading, and we read books that were kind of like below their reading level so they could see, you know, picture books and all that stuff, and we revisited it after a few months and they took off. So sometimes kids just need to, you know, be reminded of why it's fun to read, and that reading isn't always just about pressure of learning to read, but they can listen to good books, and sometimes they just need time. I've heard, and I don't know for sure what the numbers are on this, but you know, 4 and 5 is not when it has to happen. I've had kids who were ready at 4 and 5, and then some kids who were ready at 7 and even more confident at 8. So yes, I've had kids who just struggled with confidence and needed a break. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there with the homeschooling questions and move on to some other questions. So first one here, time management, including laundry and keeping the house clean while doing everything else. I am lucky in the sense that we have a weekly home group for our church, and so our house has to be kept up with for that, so that we're not just like cleaning all day on a Saturday. So our house has to be generally well picked up, and we have the kids have their chores, which we call contributions, every day at lunchtime. That kind of helps us tidy the main areas of the house, so things are being kept up with frequently. But that's not to say that every few weeks we don't get to a day where, like, between Monday and Friday everything got trashed. Right now, for example, I'm sitting at my table filming the sit down chat instead of on my couch because I have a lot of laundry on my couch. My washer went out and I've had a hard time keeping up with, I just need to wash a lot of things at once, so I haven't been folding things very well. So I do have a mountain of laundry on my couch right now. So teamwork, and then time management, and then as a mom, just not sitting down very much. I mean, that's like the reality of it is, yeah, there's gotta be a little more work when you're homeschooling and keeping up with the house. It's not gonna be as simple as just doing it casually throughout the day. So as soon as we finish school, switch to tidying up mode, but also we're doing school. So there's not a lot of like disasters happening during the day. Okay, so this is about my foot. So I broke my foot by stepping, Bella cheers, so we were at a football game, we stopped for the national anthem, and I had the baby in the ergo. Because I couldn't see in front of me when we stopped for the national anthem, somebody had set their like camping chair down beside me. So after the national anthem, there's the Chicago in me coming out. After the national anthem, I stepped, you know, to keep walking, and I stepped on the folded up camping chair and my ankle like rolled over it. They actually were one on top of the other, so I kind of stepped and they fell apart, and then I stepped again trying to catch my balance, and I just rolled down into a crisscross applesauce sitting position. And I did not want anyone to know that I was hurt, because of pride does a lot for you. So I was like, I'm good. And I just got up with the baby and I just walked 100 yards to the other end of the field where John was sitting. And then I sat down. I wanted to see, Bella was front and center in the halftime routine. And I didn't want to tell John that I had broke my foot because I wanted to see her in the routine. And so then closer to halftime, I was like, hey, by the way, broke my foot. It wasn't an intense pain. I just knew it was broken because I couldn't step right when I was walking. And I also knew that they weren't gonna do much at the ER anyway besides send me to an orthopedist. So, you know, but the question here was, was it the same foot of the leg that I had a hematoma on? Yes, the week before. So I've not been to the ER for an injury in ever. It's only been for like illness. The week prior, I slipped in some oil on a driveway and I went down hard and John thought I had broken my knee. It turned out it was just like this massive hematoma. So 2 x-rays in 1 week, 2 ER visits in 1 week. And yes, it was on the same leg. And so when I had a knee scooter for the first 2 weeks after breaking my foot, I couldn't use it because my leg was so sore. And that fall hurt more than my break. So yes, same leg. I just really did it hard to my left leg. Have I started Christmas shopping yet? Yeah, of course I have. I start Christmas shopping like in January. When we were out in Waco, I purchased some gifts for Josephine. I got a lot of my girls' stockings done this summer in North Carolina. I have this goal to do as many small and local businesses as possible for my kids' stockings this year. It won't be perfect, but I'm trying. So I shop for that throughout the year. And then most recently in the last month, I've been working on advent calendars for each of my kids and Christmas pajamas and all those doodads because I like to have all that done ahead of time. So there will be a haul and I will explain more in that haul because I normally don't do like advent calendars and things, but I have my reasons this year. So yes, of course, with 5 kids and you know, if I don't start ahead of time, it's just financially not a good idea to like try to get it all done in November, December. Okay, so with Bella getting old, how do you and John plan to handle dating and courtship? This is a really good question. I feel like ask me in a few years because right now it's like not allowed at all. She's 14. We have ideals and then we'll have the reality of what it will feel like when she's actually like 16, 17, 18. I will say we are blessed in the sense that we have a very tight-knit community. Our homeschooling community, church family, it's just a really wonderful big community and courtship is a big thing in our circle. It's not something I grew up around or John grew up around, but it's been very common. And right now, John and I are mentoring a couple who are courting and, you know, their parents asked that of us and it's been really sweet and it's been insightful for John and I as parents seeing that on the horizon. So I think that's the direction we're leaning, but we're also aware of the fact that she's our first kid and we don't really know what we don't know yet. So there's that. Okay, I'm only gonna pick a couple more because this is gonna be like an hour long if I don't. I'm gonna try to pick things that maybe were not all so similar. There's a lot of similar questions. Sourdough. I saw sourdough here. Did I make my starter from scratch or did I buy one? I bought Ballerina Farms starter and then I didn't do it right. I messed up the beginning. So then I don't even know if I accidentally started my own because I killed that one or if like the little bits of that were still alive is the reason that my starter got going, but it's a good starter and we've gifted it to many people and they've got good starter too. So it's where we live. I mean, we live in South Florida. It's hot all the time. It's humid. It's a great place for a sourdough starter. So our sourdough journey is going very well and I'm pretty happy with it. I did not expect to enjoy it so much. I regret making fun of all the people who started sourdough in 2020. I get it. I get the hype now. And I think I'll end it there. Clearly I need to do another Q&A soon because there are so many questions. So I promise that'll be on the agenda before Christmas time, another cozy Q&A chatty kind of video. Thank you guys for sending in those questions. Thank you so much to Night Zookeeper for partnering with me on today's video. Make sure you guys check out that trial and discount code in the description box down below, and I will see you soon. Bye guys.